Al, use the Twitter link.
Yeah. I think I did it last time, didn't I?
MVP.
Hits one in the air, left center field, back it goes! Harper, the swing of his life!
You never get ahead of yourself. As Harris swung down the field,
I know Randy's do every day. It's always been that way for me. Always been a get better mentality every day, grow every day, be a better leader every day, be a better quarterback every day. And when that wrench do, I don't plan on missing no payments. So.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 3 in the Keystone, episode 67, an Old City Sports Network podcast. We are a perfect attendance tonight. Al Ryan, Chris Guest, and myself, Adam Seltzer. And gents, what a time to be alive. I got Magruder and Griffin down here. They're causing the scene. It's a beautiful time to be in Philadelphia.
It is. It certainly is. This is the deja vu. This is the same thing that we were going through last year, and it's beautiful.
It's better than last year.
Better. I agree with that. Better than last year. Last year, though, had the element of surprise, man, with that Phillies run.
Yeah, I agree.
You forget how awesome that was.
But this just feels so much more dominant. It's the feeling of you sit down and you watch the game and I don't want to use the word comfortable. It's probably not the right term at this point.
It feels like 08.
Dude, it's awesome.
It feels like 08.
It's awesome.
I was listening to the radio this morning, and I want to dedicate this episode to one Lil Wayne. As on the radio, I had a little 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch. So we're going to dedicate this one to Lil Wayne.
Excuse me, charisma, vodka with a spritzer.
Young Money Militia.
But we have an action-packed show tonight. I'm very excited for what we have. Obviously, we're going to talk a ton of Phillies. We are going to have to talk into this little disappointment that is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I told you the dogs are excited tonight. I don't know what they're pumped for the Phillies. They're doing laps down here and everything.
Hopefully, the dog's only barking in the Seltzer basement and not out in Arizona. We don't need those dogs to be barking.
That's absolutely true. We're doing NBA Eastern Conference preview.
They aren't real dogs, but that's
we talked Western Conference last week. We're going to talk Eastern Conference this week, and then lastly, we're going to do an all-time Phillies playoff draft. So really, really excited for that. Al, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about Alex's Pizza, and then I'm going to get these dogs out of my basement.
Yeah. Pass the mic while you get the dogs out of here. We got that dog in us, but not that type of dog, Seltzer. So, listen, as you guys know, Alex's Pizza, which is on 400 Leverington Avenue, they're doing special $12.99 upside-down pizzas. And the Rook, their sister establishment over at 4001 Crescent Street, they got $6 Citywides and $8 Red October shots, as well as $1 Glizzies during the Phillies playoff run here. If you guys haven't taken advantage yet, what better time than now to get yourself a slice, then pop over, get yourself a glizzy, get yourself a shot, all tuned up for the game. And listen, tonight, it's Wednesday night. You could take this on the road, pull us up on the phone, on the mobile, get in the car, drive over, grab a pie, enjoy it. Tell them the 3K guy sent you. Chris, you been there yet? You've been
yeah,
there?
And actually, I was going to say tomorrow being the afternoon game for the Phillies, you can head over there and get a pie and a beverage, and then maybe watch a game with a pal or two. Maybe rekindle on some of the awesome parts of the 3K podcast from today's live episode, and call it a night. Watch some Phils take a 3-0 lead. Sounds like a good night to me on a Thursday.
Sounds like a great night. How can that be beat? Adam, how are we doing what's the dog situation over there?
Well, we got them upstairs, but now I thought I shut the door, but now one is back. But Magruder is he's a general observer of the podcast, so there's no issue with him being down here. It's the two of them at the same time, so we should be okay. But we're not in the clear yet.
It's a crafty dog you got over there.
Yeah, well, little beagle.
Listen, gentlemen, I wanted to kick things off. We've seen dominant performances by our Philadelphia Phillies. They've taken a 2-0 lead in the NLCS. They've maintained that home field advantage, that historic home field advantage So we were going to start this segment with a little bit of like, what did you see? But we all saw the same thing. So give me, what were the biggest takeaways for you as far as their dominance is concerned? What stood out to you the most?
So I think the obvious answer is the home runs and the power, but to me, it's not. To me, it's the pitching that we've been getting, which has been tremendous. I saw a stat today that the Phillies set a MLB playoff record. In the first 8 games of the playoffs, they've allowed 13 runs.
Yeah.
I don't care if you can't hit. You're not going to lose that many playoff games when you're averaging giving up less than 2 runs per game. Zach Wheeler has been unbelievable. Aaron Nola has been better.
Yep.
Ranger has thrown 2 good starts, and the bullpen, it's been good. It's been wiggling itself out of a lot of jams, but they're putting zeros on the scoreboard, and I got to give them their credit. Sir Anthony has stepped up in the playoffs. He looked lost for the majority of the season. He's thrown the ball well. He even threw it in center field the other night. Alvarado has still been good. Kimbrel still gives me the heebie-jeebies when he's out there. But listen, they've all been great. Orion Kirkering threw the ball good last night in garbage time. Jeff Hoffman threw the ball good last night. It's just been the pitching on this team has been tremendous. And I haven't even touched on how good the offense has been. The pitching has been phenomenal.
Yeah. The bottom line is there's maybe 3 pitches that we'd like to have back in 2.5 series so far.
And like Chris said in the one episode, they weren't even bad pitches, some of them.
Right. Yep. Chris, what do you think?
No, I was going to say they have the so far. I believe I saw it was like the bullpen has a combined ERA of 1.45 in the playoffs right now. 2.14 batting average against. I mean, there's not a lot of teams that are going to be able to beat you in 4 out of 7 games when you're having a bullpen pitching to that level.
Yeah, is that batting average against, or is that BABIP against?
That is the old school batting average.
BABIP.
The ba with the ba.
Can I run this down for you real quick? ERAs in the playoffs. Jose Alvarado, 0. Sir Anthony Dominguez, 0. Orion Kirkering, 0. Craig Kimbrel, 0. Michael Lorenzen, 0. Matt Strahm, 0. Aaron Nola, 0.96. Ranger Suarez, 1.04. Zach Wheeler, 2.37. Gregory Soto, 5.4. That's it. Zach Wheeler has the second highest ERA in the postseason on this team. That's how good the pitching staff has been.
That sounds made up. Like that sounds like we played a video game and
rookie mode.
And factor in, this is the playoffs. They faced the best offense in the history of baseball for 4 games, and they played 2 other teams that are playoff teams. And the Diamondbacks came in red hot, and they're still doing this.
And we should have swept the Braves. Let's not forget. I mean, they had a blip on the Phillies had a blip on the radar as far as like we said, a couple pitches that just missed the spot and ended up Austin Riley putting them in the seats. And who was the other one again? I forget.
Darno.
No, Darno. Yeah, sorry.
Darno, right. We're 2 pitches away from having a sweep in that series and having really swept through the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. So listen, let's make it 3 for 3 because my biggest takeaway is the same thing. It's that the pitching is really good. They know how to get it done in the postseason. Adam, I mentioned it in our NLCS preview episode, our very special episode of 3 in the Keystone, where I said that Ranger Suarez has a little bit of Jimmy Butler DNA in him. I'm beginning to think the entire pitching staff does. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Jose Alvarado, Craig Kimbrel, you just named all of them. They all have a little bit of that Jimmy in them.
And I think a lot of that comes from Bryce Harper's DNA. Even though they're pitchers, but I think that resonates in just we are the better team. We're going to come in here, take your lunch money, and we're going to dominate you. And that's what they've done. The other thing I wanted to just talk about is the obvious. It's the home field advantage and the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Their baseball traditionally is probably the sport where home field matters the least, I would say. Outside, I would say the least. But when you have fans like this that are so loud and so into every single pitch, the baseball game goes so slow. There are so many moments where you as a pitcher or a hitter on the opposing team are sitting there and you have to think about how loud this crowd is and the reaction you're going to get. And they've actually turned this into one of the great home field advantages in all of sports because of how loud they are. And there's other fan bases, they just can't get to that level. So it's truly been amazing. It's reflected in the record. I think they've shown their record since Citizens Bank Park, since they've been in the playoffs, or since that's been open. But in the last 2 years, I think there's something like 12-2, something
20,
around those. And
20,
the only 2 losses were the Astros.
I think it's 27 or 28-11 in the history of the building.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this group specifically. I think it's if I go through last year, they won 2 against Atlanta, they won 3 against the Padres. They were 6-2 last year, and then they were 2-4, 6-0 this year. They're 12-2 with this group at home.
But I think, again, from the set I just said, as far as what it is since we started making these runs in 2007 and 2000, through 2007 to 11, and then now also the fans. The players might be different. The fans aren't. The fans are still the fans. It's still the city of Philadelphia going down there packing that place, and they're still making an impact on that team as well as this team. And it's not letting up. Even we've seen even in previous. We talked about it in previous episodes before with like the Sixers, how a couple years ago we were 38-4 at home, and the Eagles have had a great stretch at home. This city's tough to win in again for teams when they come in here, and that's as a Philadelphian, I think we should all take such pride in that, because obviously our athletes are doing the things on the field, but off the field, we're making it tough for people. And that's
Absolutely.
how it should be.
Absolutely. And the barometer for me is when you look behind home plate and you have all the people in the rich people seats and they are out of their seats and they are screaming with every pitch, because you don't see that at every ballpark, where the people that are in the the $1,000 seats are lively. But,
well, and they also had a time where they were saying that I saw yesterday or today, I forget what it was, I think it was this morning, where one of the Arizona news reporters had wrote a piece and basically called Citizens Bank Park the hardest place to win in baseball history in the playoffs. Now, obviously, the statistics do show that factually, that percentage-wise, it has been the toughest place to play and win as a road team in the history of baseball in the postseason. But also just now from coming here and seeing it themselves firsthand. They had, I don't know if you guys saw this or not on Twitter or Instagram or anything, but they showed a clip of a newscast in Arizona and Phoenix, and they tried to have a boots on the ground segment, and they went to the reporters that were in the parking lot at Citizens Bank Park. Did you guys see this?
No.
And the girl's like, let's go live to whoever it was that's in Philadelphia with our home team. And what are you seeing out there? How many D-backs fans are? He's like, none. We haven't seen any since we've been here, to be honest with you. It's been a sea of red. And they totally didn't expect that. Like, I'm like, how does your producer not already like figure out like, all right, we can't run with that because our guys haven't found anybody here.
There was one random Diamondbacks fan my wife saw on the TV with a Diamondbacks hoodie right behind the Phillies dugout, but that was the only one that was
there.
Yeah. Well, the series shifts now, guys. So, we've done what we needed to do at home. We're headed to Arizona for at least 2 games, possibly 3 in a row, as the series, it's a 2-3-2 in the Major League Baseball playoffs. So I wanted you to look into your 3K crystal balls. And I want to start with Chris here. What are the keys to winning games 3, 4, and 5?
Well, I think speaking of balls, I think it's appropriate you started here. I think that this game is going to be this series is going to be a sweep. I think that I would be a little bit leery about it more if the Diamondbacks had a starting pitching staff. They've got 2 guys, and that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm not scared of Fat or whatever his name is.
Oh, Young Fat.
Yeah, Chow Young Fat. And they're right now they're in line to have a bullpen game 4, unless Gallen goes on like a short rest, which I don't think will happen. So I think that's going to come back to haunt the Diamondbacks, and it's going to probably put them in the pitching market this year, because they're going to feel like they probably came up short because they didn't have enough pitching. So there's a guy on our team that they may try to empty the bag for the off season, but that's another conversation for another time. But I just think that because of that, I think that the Phillies have this one. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to blow them out in these next 2 games, but I just think at the end of the day, I feel like they're I mean, obviously they're a better team than Arizona, but I think pitching is going to let these guys down. And of course, their crowd's no match for what we have. So I don't think our guys will be intimidated in the slightest going into what's I don't even know what it's called now.
Chase, is it still Chase?
Is it Chase Field still? I don't know.
So
I think it's
Quick trivia question. Do you remember what it was originally called?
yeah, well, you dropped this where it was Bank One Ballpark.
Yeah, Bank One.
Chris, I wouldn't be surprised too if you heard a good segment of Philadelphia fans at that ballpark, both transplants and people that are going to travel for these games. Adam, do you have your broom out as well?
I'm not ready to pull the broom out yet, but this series, I don't see it getting back to Philadelphia. So at worst, you're looking at a 5-game series. And to me, the key is, especially if you want to sweep them, is let's jump on them again early tomorrow. They're ripe to be stuck in. They're ripe to be ended quickly. If you jump out, especially in the first inning, and score 2 runs off of this guy, I think they're ready to get knocked over, and this series may be a sweep exactly. But I think it's just not let them get any momentum. Keep up the good play, and maybe let Kyle Schwarber play shortstop.
Yeah, why not? I think too that like a game like last night is a soul snatching game. I mean that takes a lot out of a team when they go in and they are down 1-0 in the series, and then they just get their doors blown off 10-0. Even knowing that they're going back home, I think that now you realize you have to win 4 of the next 5 games. You realize that you have to end up playing Nola and Wheeler again and beating them. You realize that you've thrown your 2 best pitchers at these guys and they beat you both games. And a lot of stuff's going into their thought process, I think, right now. And I'm a big believer in emotion getting into sports and things like that. And I just feel like emotionally, these guys are going to probably be drained, especially if they get, like you said, Seltzer, down in the game in game 3. I think that'll probably be a wrap for them.
Yeah, two things for me were very telling in those first 2 games. The first one was Corbin Carroll led off both games, getting on base immediately, and neither time did he even attempt to steal second. And you're talking about that. How many stolen bases? I know one of you guys probably knows.
54.
54 stolen bases this season. The kid's a speedster. He's got wheels. So to not even make the attempt at being aggressive in that first inning, that to me said a lot about their mind frame and their strategy heading into this NLCS.
Especially game 2.
Especially game 2.
And Al, you saw they got a chance to see what happened to us when Acuna got on the bases and started stealing bags and what it did to the Phillies, and they still didn't try to do it.
Right. They did not pressure us at all defensively. And then the other thing was it the 8th inning, the fly ball that just landed harmlessly in the infield?
Yeah, they checked out by that point. No, it was earlier. It was earlier than that because I went to bed after the 7th and I saw that.
Okay, so then maybe the 6th or 7th, but still, that to me was just. I get it; it's a white flag in the game that is lost. It's a 10-0 lead, but to give up, I mean, this is what you played for your whole lives, right? I get that you're down. But like, come on, man, a fly ball just dropping harmlessly in the infield. That to me is just like we're done. We're done.
Yeah, and Evan Longoria literally looked like that's what he was like. Oh my, like what are we doing? Like it's just like are we serious, right? And he's still listen. I for the fact that he was here in 2008 when we won the World Series.
Wild.
Oh my God, he's got to be the only guy that's still playing at like worth a damn that's still in baseball that played that long ago, right?
Wasn't Rocco Baldelli a teammate of his, and now he's a manager?
Yeah, there's a couple managers. Gabe Kapler's a manager. He was definitely around back then too.
I mean, you see guys like Kershaw who were around back then, but like they're all obviously like about. I mean, Longoria is not nearly what he used to be either. But it's just funny that he looks old out there to me.
And what's crazy is what's crazy. I looked it up last night. He's only 37. It's not like he's
a rookie in 08.
42 years old.
Yeah.
There was something else that I wanted to say quickly, but I lost my train of thought. What was the question you asked?
The key to winning in Arizona. But my quick.
I would say the one thing that I'm impressed with Arizona, despite the drop pop up, they're very good defensively. They've made a lot of plays in the field, some line drives, and they've tracked some balls down the outfield that I thought they've been impressive. So I mean, the pitching hasn't been as good as I thought. The offense obviously hasn't been up to par, but I think defensively, the catcher's really good. Catcher's got a hose.
Yes, he does. He almost caught Bryce napping.
Yeah.
With that, and he was very, very nonchalant about getting back to the base on that one throw.
Yeah, he was. That was
But
really
my
good.
key to winning the game is status quo. Don't let Arizona strike first. Get out early and stay out ahead. It's not rocket science here, guys. So I think we all are in agreement that the series is not coming back to Philadelphia. I have the Phillies winning in 5. That's what I had originally, but I am really thinking about sweep here as well, Chris. This Arizona team is just not impressing me. I think they ran out of gas. I think it's pretty simple. So let's talk one more thing. We know we know kind of what to expect from some of these guys as far as the Phillies go. So I don't want to hear you take after I give you this next question. I don't want to hear Bryce Harper come out of your mouth. Give me an X factor, somebody that is going to turn the tide, that's going to be maybe the nail in the coffin guy that we can count on here in these next 2 to 3 games in Arizona. Adam, who do you got?
So I thought long and hard about this question. And to me, an X factor is a guy that overachieves in a moment, steps up to the plate when you need him the most, comes through in a big spot. Like you said, it's not a Bryce Harper, it's not a Kyle Schwarber, it's somebody that's kind of below the radar. Guess what? There are no X factors on this team. The lineup is so good and so deep. They don't need somebody to step out. They've all contributed, unless Johan Rojas hits 3 homers, and that would be an X factor.
I'll just say
But,
3 hits at this point.
But look, I don't think there is an X factor with this team. And that's just I know that's a crazy thing to say, but that's just how I feel about how good the team has been 1 through 8. Like, I don't see if Bryson Stott steps up or Alec Boehm steps up. I don't see that as an X factor. I just see that as a guy in our cog that's stepping up and doing the job. So to me, like, I just don't see an X factor on this team. I really, really don't.
Well, I was just looking at it as from the perspective of if this person is successful, it's going to directly lead to the Phillies' success. And for me, it's Ranger Suarez. He has an opportunity to put the Phillies' feet on the Diamondbacks' throat and take a 3-0 lead. He does have some demons. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. He does have some demons against Arizona in his career. He's 1-3 with a 5.09 ERA in 9 appearances against Diamondbacks in his career. So he has a little bit of demons. I'm not sure what the breakdown is as far as there versus here at home pitching against him, but his numbers aren't the best. But you still believe in him. He hasn't given us a reason to not believe in him. And for him to be successful tomorrow afternoon, I think is huge for this team. And if he is, and it enables us to get offensively ahead in the game, I think that this series is going to be quickly over. And that broomstick is going to definitely be out.
I would say I if I had to pick, I would probably say Ranger. But to me, Ranger was much more X factor in the first series because I didn't know what I was getting from him. Now I almost just expect him to pitch well.
Yeah, he's earned that.
Yeah, and he should. But again, he has had some numbers against this organization, so we'll see how it goes. But if he gets does well, starts out hot, I don't think Arizona has a chance, especially because they're not going to really be combating him with any strong pitching of their own in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Chris. I thought Adam was going to get cute and say Rob Thompson. And then he said that, I was going to say Dusty. Just
they've played so well that Rob has done a good enough job. He's made some questionable moves, but for the most part, they've worked. And so I'm not going to bash Rob. He's they're winning ball games. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I give you guys a random non-Philly stat that just came across my television, which blew me away? And I know this name probably shouldn't be spoken in Philadelphia, but Christian Javier has thrown 22 and 2/3 innings in the playoffs in his career, and he's given up 2 hits.
Yeah, and I'm mad at myself because he was the guy I couldn't think of for a second. I last week we had that question about, or it was last week, about a guy who you would take a picture, you take over Wheeler. He's one of them. He's lights out.
You would take him over Wheeler?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whoa.
Absolutely. What did you just say, Seltzer? What was the stat?
Yeah. Listen, his playoff resume. He's only made 4 starts, though. Zach's made probably 10 starts.
But he's got a World Series no-hitter.
Yeah, no, the sample size is based on just pure stats. You're right, but just I'd love to see a little larger sample because he wasn't very good in the regular season this year.
No, but he had a dead arm issue and stuff like that, so he had some health stuff. But he's a horse in my opinion. I mean, I would take that kid in a minute.
Look, he's going into Texas tonight in a must-win, and they're up 5-0 in the sixth or the fifth. But
Yes.
but when you talk about this series compared to the other one, this is the series that went 2-0 back to Texas and was not over. It's not over because that Houston team can rally. I don't see that from Arizona.
Right. I agree. Real quick, my X factor is, I went back and forth on this. I'm settling on JT only because he's played so well and behind the plate. If Arizona decides they want to start to get aggressive, if he can just start throwing these guys out, that's really going to take the wind out of their sails. So it's more for his defense than his offense, to be honest.
Well, and also we could have said Trey. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Trey Turner's batting like 500 right now.
Thank God, because he ain't picking the ball up.
No, I know, but still at the plate, he's batting 5. Like, I mean, Seltzer, I get what you're saying, but you could look at that also as an X factor in the sense that he's literally playing out of his mind at the plate.
Right.
And nobody would expect him or anybody to do something like that. So, I mean, that's also one where like he gets up to the plate and we just assume he's going to make something happen at this point in time. And that's huge to have a guy like that.
He's made up for his defense at the plate, but he also should be thanking the pitching staff that they're doing as good of a job as they are because they've also bailed him out and made his errors irrelevant, essentially.
Yep. So just to recap, while we put a bow on this, give me your predictions for the next few games. What's the NLCS? What's it going to be? The final score. Adam.
So I said earlier I wasn't really sure, but I'm going to follow Chris's lead. I'm going with a sweep. I think they jump on the fat man tomorrow, and they win probably a closer one. Let's say like a 7-4 or something like that, where they add on late, and then it's pack the bags. We're heading to Cancun. It's not a far trip from Phoenix. Let's get there sooner rather than later, and we're going to wrap this thing up in 4. Probably behind. Did they announce? Is it Taiwan? I would imagine it's probably going to be.
No, I don't think they've announced game 4 yet.
Yeah, I didn't hear an announcement. Chris, before I get to you, Diverse has joined us in the chat, chiming in with a super relevant comment of Dominic Brown crawled so Stott can walk. Thanks for joining us, Diversa. All right, Chris, what do you got?
There you go. You want me to follow that up?
Yeah, dude, good luck.
I mean, look, I like I said, I think it's a sweep. I think that one of the games is going to be a nail biter to the end, and the other one is going to probably be like a coast job, like how it was game 1 in Atlanta, where we just kind of had what was it, 3-0 or 4-0, and just kind of controlled the game, didn't let them get started offensively. I could see that happening in one of these games, probably this one coming up, because game 4 we will have either Taiwan or Sanchez, whatever the case may be. I can't imagine them not throwing Walker in that game when they paid him $70 million and then not use him in a playoff series. I can't imagine that. But I think that easy win game 3, tough game, but we'll squeak it out in game 4. We'll have to sweep Seltzer off the floor from Kimbrel, giving him a borderline heart attack, but I think he'll get it done and we'll get out of there.
I'd love to make it 3 for 3, but I got to stick with my Phils in 5 prediction just because it's what I had at the beginning of the series.
It's tough, man.
But yeah, dude, listen, do I see Arizona winning a game at this point realistically? I do not. I don't know that they have the advantage in any matchup, and that includes the fact that we're going to Arizona. I don't think it even matters that the Phillies are on the road for these 3 games. So I'll stick with Phillies in 5, but won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if Major League Baseball steps in and shuts this thing down after 3 games. Look, guys, we're on here.
Bud Selig coming
Over
in.
the damn towel.
He's back. Seltzer curse on Christian Javier. Just give him a 2-run homer.
Oh,
there you go. So Diversa agrees, Phillies in 5. So that wraps up our Phillies portion of the segment. We're going to jump into a quick Eagles. I think that we all had it. We all had it preseason, right? We all had them losing this game at the Jets, but under different circumstances when we originally made the prediction. So I think that there's some holes, right? We see some things with this team that maybe need some improvement. Chris, do you want to give us in 60 seconds or less here, just what's one thing, one player or one position group or anybody that needs to step up for the Eagles?
Yeah, the offensive coordinator as well. First and foremost, that's not the only one. I mean, obviously Jalen Hurts has to play better, and I think that our secondary has to play better. Josh Jobe can't play.
No.
He can't play, and they put him on the outside. Try to put him on the outside, and he's either getting a PI or a hold because he can't keep up with anybody. That's got to get better. But listen, the Jets are an NFL team. All right, they got NFL players, and if you sleepwalk in a game, especially in their backyard, they're going to bite you, and that's what happened in this game. We let them stick around, and they got us in the end.
I think the stat that I heard, I might be messing this up, but it was that in the history of the NFL, a team that has lost the turnover battle 4 turnovers has only won one game ever.
Yeah, I mean it's almost impossible. And just to think, and you guys always get on me for how I feel about the Eagles, but with 4 turnovers and the way that we played and having injuries, and we still almost won that game. Now, I don't know if that's a lot to say about the Jets or if that's a lot to say about the Eagles, but we still almost won that game under those circumstances.
Adam, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll quickly jump in. There's been a lot of talk all year that despite the fact that the Eagles were 5-0, now 5-1, that something just hasn't felt right or something just hasn't looked right. I spoke with a pretty good source, and he told me that it's not an aberration. He said that there's issues in this locker room. He said specifically coaches and players. There's a rift between them, and it's not necessarily just the coordinators. And I think if you think about it, I mean, you had the Jason Kelce blow up 2 weeks ago, right? You know, that had to have something behind it. He went out, he apologized because that's the kind of guy he is. But that's the kind of stuff that there's a rift in this locker room, and you can see it. It's not obvious. Again, Jalen Hurts is pretty stone-faced, but when you look at him on the sidelines, he looks miserable. He does not look like he's having fun playing football. And listen, here at the end of the day, we can say what we want. We're going to find out in the next 6-7 weeks what the Eagles are. Because the schedule to this point has been what it is. Chris, we don't need to get into. I know you get defensive about the schedule is. Listen, you got Miami, Washington, who gave him a good game, and then you got the Dallas, Buffalo, Kansas City, San Francisco, Dallas. Like, we're going to find out that is this team who we thought they were coming into the season, or is this a team that's going to have one of those years where they're not as good as people thought they were? So we're at that point where this season's about to start for them, and the last thing we really wanted coming in was a loss in a game that we probably should have won.
Yep.
So, it's funny you said that about the rift thing. There's times when I watch their games, and during the games and even afterwards, and when we catch things on the sidelines and all that kind of stuff, where it feels like a vibe of like the players almost feel maybe, and I'm not reporting this or anything, I'm just getting off the eye test and the vibe I get. The players think that they know more than some of the coaches at this point in time that we have between Desai and between Brian Johnson. And I don't know the details, but that's how it feels to me. Like, it feels to me like there's something where it's like there's maybe a lack of trust or a lack of, they're not really simpatico with like what they're getting told to do on the field or their roles or whatever the case may be. And maybe frustration is setting in as a result of that. I mean, obviously, like anything else, if you have a job and you get a boss that you don't think knows what they're doing, it can make a bad morale in your workplace. And that could be the case, especially the offense. The defense has had its moments. The offense, I feel like, has just not looked like it's been making a lot of adjustments. Teams look like they look at us pretty predictable as far as what we're going to do and how we're going to set up our formations and things like that. And I'm wondering if that comes into play. So you mentioned before about, we seeing how important Shane Steichen was to this team. And I think that you might be onto something with that. He's had success already a little bit with Indianapolis, at least more than a lot of people thought he would. And that team has moved the ball, even with Minshew at times. And with the super talented player that we have as our franchise quarterback, we still look mediocre. And I think a lot of that may have to do with our performance. the fact that our coaching and our game plan is just not strong right now.
Yeah, and look, I don't know whether it's Brian Johnson, but I'm sure Nick Sirianni is listening in on the play call. The 3rd and 9 play call was a disgusting, idiotic play, and it was also a completely idiotic decision from Jalen Hurts to throw that football because it was a terrible read. But how do you not – let's run the ball, make them waste a timeout, punt it down to the 15-yard line, and make Zach Wilson go down the field on us.
Yep.
And what are you, Al? You would text us at one point recently, and you're like, with the Kenneth Gainwell thing. Why are we underutilizing Swift again, and then putting Gainwell a little bit more in certain spots that when we're not even using Swift, it's not like we're running Swift into the ground, and then we have to give him a break and have Gainwell come in. I just don't understand what they're doing sometimes especially with the running game. There's no reason to have Jalen Hurts, especially with their star right tackle, who's probably the best tackle in football, or at least top 3, out of the game. And we've talked about that. Lane Johnson is probably the second most important person on that offense. Their record is significantly poorer when he is not in the games, or when he comes out of games. That's not a coincidence. And you sit there and you have Jalen Hurts backdrop the pass 44 times, 45 times, and the running game just is in the teens for carries. It doesn't make sense to me.
So it sounds like, boys, and Diversa makes it 4. We're all flummoxed right now over some of the decision-making, the product on the field.
The Jets were 29th in the league in rush defense, and we don't run the ball.
They thought with the 2 cornerbacks out, they were going to throw the ball all over the field, and they got burned.
But even with that said, like, you win the game in the trenches if your team you're going against can't stop the run, and you have, like, our offense is predicated on the run setting up the pass. And if you don't establish the run, I don't care if you're going up against guys off the street, practice, whatever, like, they're in an NFL game. Run the ball. You have to set up the run to set up the pass.
My question to you becomes this. We are rolling out the Kelly Greens Sunday night at the Link against the fastest team in football. The team,
my boy Tua,
the best offense in the NFL. Chris, what is your prediction for Sunday night?
I think this is, honestly, I'm not worried about this game. I think this is a get-back game. I think they get back on track. But it's just like, this spot for me seems like a schedule win. I feel like the Jets game was a little bit of a letdown game, and we showed that we were let down. And now I think that they got a little bit of smoke up their ass, a little bit of fire coming up. And I think that, with the Sunday night situation, the bright lights of it, the team knowing that they have a rep to protect, right? I think that they come out and they play a good game. I think they win like 31-27 in a close game. It's not going to be a runaway or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. But I think that they can get to Tua enough. They're going to be one-dimensional because we're really good against the run defensively. So I think we can contain their run, make Tua throw the ball. And with that being said, anybody, when you turn them one-dimensional in the NFL, it's tough.
Well,
so.
All right, Adam, what do you think? We gotta, I don't know.
I'm really on the fence about this game. And I think in the NFL, we always overreact to what we see the week before. So, we see the Eagles lay an egg and we're all, the Eagles stink. They're terrible. Look at what they've done. The Eagles play great, and we overreact to that as well. With that said, I think Diversa made a good point in the chat. The Eagles injury report is pretty ugly right now, and that worries me. But I've always been a guy who follows the schedule and the ebbs and flows, and I think they do bounce back this week. And I think they're going to do it by pressuring Tua, because if they don't pressure Tua, they're going to get picked apart because they don't have the secondary manpower to match up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So they're going to have to get 4 or 5 sacks on Tua to stay in this game. I think they do it, and they do cause maybe a turnover or 2. And I'm going to say they win this game 30-28, maybe on a last-second field goal by Jake the Snake.
Jake the Make, they call him.
Jake the Make? He didn't make this week, though.
No, he didn't.
Well, I'm sitting here.
Can I say something to the guy in the chat?
Yeah, go ahead.
You dogged me all on the whole AFC East preview video on Miami. Just want to let you know. And you were another one saying how good the Jets were going to be. So take it easy over there, hyping up Miami in the chat.
Well, I want to start my prediction here with just a quick apology. I think that I, along with the entire city of Philadelphia, as far as the sports fans go, nobody wanted to be the downer these last several weeks, these last couple of months, with the Phillies rolling, the Eagles back on the field, 5-0 start. Nobody wanted to really step in and admit that something was wrong. Conversations I had with fellow Philly fans, my in-laws, etc., was always, yeah, but they're 5-0. Who cares? They're 5-0. But they haven't looked right. There's been holes. The coaching has been questionable. Hurts has regressed. I know it's a small sample size, but he is not the quarterback in this season that he was last season. And I'm apologizing because I was afraid to admit these things when the Eagles were rolling and they were 5-0. This team right now is not as good as the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have speed all over the field, and I do not know who is going to cover the Tyreek Hills, the Jalen Waddles, the Raheem Mosterts, and keep Tua in check. I simply don't know that with all the injuries that they are dealing with. That doesn't help things. I hate that I have to sit here and say that the Kelly Green debut in 2023 is going to get spoiled, but I believe it is. I think the Dolphins' egg game, where they laid the egg, was 3 weeks ago at Buffalo. They have nothing to look forward to next week. They got the Patriots at home, who are one of the worst teams in football. I think the Eagles just simply are not ready for this game on the field or on the sideline. I have the Miami Dolphins winning this game 31-20. And I think that's the same score I had for it was 31-10 for the Eagles and Jets, but 31-20. I think the Dolphins win. I think they spoil it.
It wouldn't shock me. I'm flummoxed by this game. I don't know where to go with it.
All right, enough with the flummoxed, first of all.
Did I say that earlier?
Two people that have said that. I've never heard that word in my life. Now I've heard it twice in 20 minutes.
Seltzer, you're vexed.
I'm perplexed. And I'm gonna give you a suplex.
We're going to Perplexed City.
Yeah. Listen, Al. So you said about the Dolphins like letdown game or whatever was against Buffalo. That game they got beat by 4 touchdowns. The Eagles just had their letdown game and they got beat at the last minute of the game by 4 or 6 points. How can you say that the Dolphins are that much better than the Eagles? Because even right now.
Yes, it's the eye test. When you watch the Dolphins on the field, they are boat racing teams with ease. They are scoring touchdowns with ease. The Eagles are making everything look hard right now. The only thing the Eagles are continuing to make look easy is the sneak. I'm not going to use these new terms that they're using. The sneak. That's the only thing that they're making look easy right now on offense.
I see that. That's where we disagree. I think the first drive or two of the games, they are coasting and they do look good. It's when teams get to make adjustments to us that our plays fall apart. And that's a coaching issue more so than a player issue. I can't sit there and say that Jalen Hurts has regressed after watching him play 6 games removed from the Super Bowl. Now, if it's a full season and his numbers are totally out of whack, then I can maybe understand that. But I can't say there's a difference to me in regressing and just having a rough start.
Would you rather have right now on your NFL team? Would you rather have the Jalen Hurts of 2023 or the Jalen Hurts of 2022? Just answer that question.
Oh well, 22.
Well, then he's regressed.
But it doesn't mean that. Regression is over a long period of time.
Well, this has
not even a third of a season. Yeah, I don't
regression in the first 6 weeks.
Has Joe Burrow regressed?
Yes.
You think Joe Burrow has an injury to give an explanation as to why he's not playing as well?
Has Lamar Jackson regressed?
I don't know.
Has Justin Herbert regressed?
Yes.
Yeah, Justin Herbert has regressed.
He's another one with a bozo coach, though.
Well, but I was going to say, there's other factors that come into play with this stuff besides just the guy that's on himself in his play on the field by himself. I can't say that he's regressed yet. He has not played to the level that we know he could, but I think that's a start issue. I don't think that that's a total regression yet. You might be right by the end of the year. And by January, February, we might be saying, like, Al, you were right. He did regress. He threw 15 interceptions. He only ran for 300 yards. And we only, lost a playoff game. yeah, then you'd be right. But right now, I can't say that yet.
We really have to move on. But guest, in one word, has Brock Purdy regressed?
Is it time for my segment? Is it time for my sponsorship?
He's doing his thing. Wait, has Justin Fields regressed?
Oh no, hey, that
All right,
he
guys.
he never really progressed. He got to progress to regress.
Listen, we have to move on. Adam, is it you? Who's hitting me with the Saxers locks of the week?
As far as the first one, I'll hit you with the first one.
Yeah, who's giving me the ad? Who's giving me the read here? Is it you?
You know, you got it.
All right, Saxers, guys. You know it's my favorite bar in all of Delco. It's located at 148 Saxer Avenue in beautiful Springfield, Pennsylvania. They're doing $5 statesides, $5 surf sides during all Phillies postseason games. Drop in there, tell my man Ryan that the 3K podcast sent you. Order some food and have yourselves a good night. They had Hocus Pocus trivia tonight, guys, and the winner of Hocus Pocus trivia was going to get free Flyers tickets. So Jesse might be there right now. We're not sure of Jesse's whereabouts. We got to send him a text, see where he's at.
Well, he's not going to have a lot of competition for those Flyers tickets, probably. So that's good for him.
All right, what do you got as your lock, guest? Give me a quick.
So I'm going to go with Green Bay -1. I think that with Green Bay, I think they're going. Let me get my schedule up real quick because I just totally blanked out.
At Denver.
At Denver, yeah. So with Green Bay going to Denver, Denver's trash, straight up. I don't care if they're playing in Denver on the actual mountains of the Rockies. It doesn't really matter to me. Anybody right now going in there, I'm still going to probably pick them. So for Green Bay to only be a 1-point favorite might be a trap, but I'll bite the bait and take that. I don't believe in Denver a little bit. Anytime a team that gets beat by 50 in a season, I'm comfortable betting against them for 1 point. So I'll take Green Bay -1.
All right, Adam, are you biting any bait this week?
So another week where we failed to go 0-3, actually a 1-2 week. And Al, you said something that was sat in my head last week when you said, I'm done betting on bad teams. And you took the Chiefs and you were the only one that got the cover. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here betting on the Bears and watching them just, and you know what? I said, I got to bet on good teams. And then I wrote down Tampa Bay Buccaneers as my best bet. So I don't know. I don't really know.
You gave me a hard time for saying with the schedule argument that they were up there as first place 2 weeks ago.
You've been serving hard time.
So I'm taking Tampa Bay laying 2.5 at home against Atlanta. To be honest with you, I think that the Tampa Bay defense is pretty good. I think offensively they've kind of come back to where they were earlier in the year, but Desmond Ridder the last couple of weeks has not looked very good. I especially don't trust him on the road. And for whatever reason, Atlanta will not commit to giving Bijan Robinson the ball enough. And I don't think they can score. And I think Tampa Bay wins this game probably by a touchdown, maybe even by 10 points. They still have the weapons on the outside to get it done. So I'm taking Tampa Bay to hold Atlanta down, probably something along the lines of 21-13-ish, somewhere in that scoring vicinity.
We had it right with Desmond Ridder being. I think we might have called him the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. I think I did. We had it right. He's regressed back to the mean. My lock of the week is the LA Rams giving 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. I mean, it's no secret. It's no surprise. Everybody knows that they might have the best home field advantage in all of football, the LA Rams. The Pittsburgh Steelers, that was a joke. Nope, we went right over everybody's heads. The Steelers are coming off of a bye. My Pittsburgh Steelers, who actually I think, are they still tied for the division lead, or is that now kind of messed up because of the bye week? But listen, I think the Rams at home, they're a good football team. Chris, again, you were all over them in the preseason. They're good enough to dispatch the Steelers at home. So I'll take the Rams given 3. I think they win maybe, a 7 to 10 point game, something like 27-17.
Yeah, I like the Rams like this week too. Maybe we change BB for best bet. Maybe we change it to biting bait.
The bait biters.
Also, let me say one thing real quick before you move on. This week, when people have this theory about the NFL being fixed, and I would always say like it's ridiculous to even think something like that. However, this weekend, I don't know if you guys saw this, 5 teams had 80% or more of the money on them. And I believe 4 of the 5 did not cover.
Yeah, like San Fran, Buffalo didn't cover.
The Eagles,
Philly didn't cover.
A lot of people lost money this weekend.
Yeah.
And already some rumblings going out there about how the league saw those numbers and things weirdly played out last week.
You need to stop reading Will Pierce's Facebook statuses.
I don't even go on Facebook, so I don't know what you're talking about. But it's interesting to me that happened. I'm not one to believe in the conspiracy theories, but I will say that one is a little bit interesting.
Guess you know who didn't lose money this weekend?
Who's
this
that?
guy with that 11 fighter UFC parlay, baby.
Ooh.
What are you doing with that cash?
If you don't know, it's already spent. I was just
Did you buy Alex's? You buy an Alex's pizza?
I might buy an Alex's franchise with all that. Who knows what's going to happen? But speaking of money, Chris, do you want to tell everybody about SeatGeek and what we got going on with SeatGeek?
Listen, if you're trying to find two things, a seat or a geek, you might want to go to Arizona this weekend. It's going to be affordable. All right. You're going to find plenty of both. You're going to have $13 seats available for tomorrow afternoon's game. If you want to hop on a Spirit flight in the next few minutes or within the next 12 hours. And if you can't, Friday's game tickets as low as $26. Saturday's game 5, if necessary, tickets as low as $30. It's crazy. You could probably get there for even cheaper than you could getting down the street to Citizens Bank Park. But for the best deals, any event in your area, whether you're here or there, sports, concerts, comedy shows, you name it, SeatGeek has you covered. Promo code 3K Podcast for $20 off your first purchase. Log on, go to SeatGeek.com and get your tickets today.
All right, well done. Well done there, Chris. Gents, time for segment 2. We did the Western Conference NBA preview last week. Today we have the Eastern Conference NBA season less than a week away from opening night next Tuesday. Gents, I will tell you this. We talked last week about how clogged up the Western Conference was from top to bottom. I will tell you this. The Eastern Conference is back to being shit.
I was going to say, doing this, I was like, these teams all suck.
They're terrible, dude. They are terrible. We are going to hit you with a full Sixers preview next week before the opener. But again, we'll get into the Eastern Conference now. I want to do it the same way we did it last week. So I'm going to grab a pen and we're going to do our non-playoff teams. We're going to do our play-in teams. And then we'll just ask some questions based off of that. So, Chris, why don't you start us first with your non-playoff teams in the East?
So I'll go from the bottom. Right now, I see the Washington Wizards. I don't know what they really. I mean, I know that they're trying to rebrand things and rebuild and stuff, and it's going to be a definite rebuilding year for them. I don't see them having a lot of success. So I have them at 15. 14, the Brooklyn Nets.
Wow.
At 14, I think that team stinks.
Just give us the teams, guest. Did you forget how this goes?
Oh, yeah, I did. I was giving my explanations. Charlotte at 13, Toronto at 12, and Indiana at 11.
Charlotte, Toronto, Indiana. Okay. Al?
All right. Well, I have Washington at 15. I don't know what this team's doing. They're going through a little rebranding.
Yeah, go for it, though. Dude, explain yourself.
I also do have Washington at 15, though, all jokes aside. I have Charlotte at 14. I have Brooklyn at 13. I have Detroit at 12 and Toronto at 11.
Detroit and Toronto. All right. I have Washington at 15, so we're all on the same page there. I have Detroit at 14. I have Chicago at 13. And then I have Charlotte at 12. And I have Atlanta at 11. So I guess I want to throw it to let's talk Brooklyn, because you guys are way down on Brooklyn. I actually have them a lot higher. I don't love the team, but hit me with what your thoughts are on Brooklyn.
I mean, I just think they got one dude. I think they got Mikal Bridges, and I mean, we've all kind of debated on what he is in the NBA right now, if he's a superstar, if he's a franchise guy, or if he's just a really good player. And with the rest of that roster, either way, he's not good enough. So I guess you would say he's not a superstar. He's not good enough to propel them to the play-in by himself.
But why do you like you have Charlotte above them? What do you like in Charlotte why do you think Charlotte's better than Brooklyn?
I mean, I had them a spot above. That could be a game difference. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I would trust LaMelo and Oh my God, I'm going blank on
Brandon
his name.
Miller, PJ Washington.
The Brandon Miller, yeah.
Brandon Miller.
I would trust them in their future going forward this year over who Brooklyn's going to throw out there personally. I just think that, and also honestly, when you're talking about teams that bad, I'm just thinking about who I'd rather watch. I'd rather watch Charlotte than Brooklyn, to be honest with you.
That's a fair point. Actually, Charlotte would be entertaining. Yeah, I mean, listen, it'll be interesting if the Brooklyn fans have fallen for the Ben Simmons summer campaign again.
Oh yeah, they absolutely have.
I watched a little bit of him last night, and yeah, does he look in better shape and he look athletic? Sure, he's got no bag again. He's got
a lot.
Yeah,
he's the same dude.
To reference one of my favorite movies, Mean Girls, the Brooklyn Nets right now are the Gretchen Wieners of the NBA. They're trying to make fetch happen. They're trying to make Ben Simmons happen. Stop trying to make Ben Simmons happen. It's not going to happen. The dude
Ben Simmons needs to stop making Ben Simmons.
The dude it's not even him though. Honestly, it's everyone around him. Why does he get the attention that he gets? It's sickening. He's
like, and I like the guy, but he's like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Everybody's still going back to see if he finds the Sixth Sense over again. And every time we realize that the Sixth Sense was one of a kind, he will never be what he was. And I think that people still hold out hope that he can find himself. He's still in his 20s and figure it out and be the one that found the golden goose. And I just think the golden goose is a golden piece of what. And he's not ever going to be that because he doesn't want to be that.
I just don't understand why there's this infatuation with him. Like why him? Why not Pops Mensah-Bonsu? Why Ben Simmons?
The other team we'll talk about is the second team. I have Atlanta. I'm the only one that has Atlanta in this bottom five. I think this may be
about it.
What'd you say?
I thought about it.
I think this may be a blow it up year for them if they don't put it together. They obviously traded John Collins. They really didn't upgrade the roster. I'm not a Sadiq Bey guy. I don't think he's going to add a lot that John Collins didn't. I think Clint Capella could end up being trade bait. And really, I don't want to say it's a make or break year for Trae Young, but I think if they don't come through and finish, at least make the playoffs, let's say, I think there's a chance that they try and move off of Trae Young.
Trae Young is sneakily.
We've already heard some rumors about that.
He's sneakily a loser. He had some big moments early in his career, including taking down the 76ers, but he hasn't done anything.
And he's hard because he's the kind of guy and James Harden, very similar to James Harden. If you trade for him, he needs the ball in his hands at all times to be effective, and that changes your entire offense. And he doesn't help you on the defensive side of the ball either. He did have some big moments in the playoffs. Like he's a big-time shot maker, but he's not a good enough shooter to take some of the shots that he does.
Well, the bottom line is Trae Young's not a guy that you can win with as the main superstar on your team.
No,
if he's number two or if he's a complimentary guy he's a star player. All right. I'm not saying he's not a star, but he's not good. He's not a superstar where he can win by himself.
Right.
And if you put him with like a Giannis or if you put him with someone of that ilk, I think he would be more successful. But DeJounte Murray is not good enough to pair with Trae Young and make them a really good team. Contrary to what I thought last year, I thought maybe with Murray's defense and the ability to he still averaged around 20 when they got him. I thought maybe that would be good enough to be able to propel them, and also having Collins at the time and Capella's defense at the time. But other than that, and that's all gone now. I don't see. And I thought about it, Seltzer, but there's no argument for me on you being having him in the bottom five.
I think Trae Young. Don't kill me for this. Let me say the whole thing. Trae Young is an Allen Iverson style, but he's 5 levels below Iverson's talent.
Yeah.
Where if Iverson wasn't that good, like no defense, he's a volume scorer. He's inefficient. He's all of those things. He's 5 levels below what Iverson was.
To maximize Trae Young's style, to maximize his game, you have to let him play the way he does, but he's never going to win with that. No team's ever going to win giving Trae Young the rock and letting him do what he wants.
And there's some guys in the league there's some guys in the league where it's just hard to win with their skill set. He's one of them. James Harden's one of them. Carmelo Anthony was one of them. Like there's certain guys where they're supremely talented, but they're not championship caliber superstars.
Before we move on from Atlanta, Philly alert, Seth Lundy on the team out of Penn State by way of Roman Catholic.
On the Sixers?
He I'm telling you what, man, he became a very Atlanta.
I thought you were saying okay.
He became a big 3-and-D guy his senior year. I could see him, getting some burn down in Atlanta.
Well, he'll get a chance to. I don't think they have a bunch of guys that they're totally set in stone and in love with in that lineup right now.
No.
All right, let's go to your play-in teams. I'll go first here. I have Toronto at 10. I have Miami at 9. I have Indiana at 8, and I have Brooklyn at 7. Chris?
I have Atlanta at 10, Chicago 9, Orlando 8, Detroit 7.
I have Chicago 10, Orlando 9, Atlanta 8, Indiana 7. But I will say this, all the teams in the East from 7 through 15 could end up anywhere, and it wouldn't surprise me because they're all that bad.
7 through 15. I'll say 5 through 15.
Yeah.
In reality. Chris, we gotta talk to me a little bit about Detroit here. Al had them at 12. I had them at 14. Give me a little Detroit defense here.
I think they got a cute little roster. They got Bogdanovic. They got obviously Cade Cunningham. I'm big on Cade Cunningham. I think he's gonna be great, and I'm big on Jaden Ivey. Those two are definitely good future pieces. They added veterans like Joe Harris, Alec Burks, Monty Morris. They also have, they're still tough with Isaiah Stewart in the front court. Osar Thompson, they also drafted. James Wiseman, they acquired.
That's your boy,
So
James Wiseman.
I love Wiseman.
You think Thompson starts or Ivy starts at the other guard?
Ivy.
Okay.
I think Ivy still. I think he's still. Yeah, I think Ivy. But we'll see. And I think they have a nice young team, and they can grow together. So as long as they all stay healthy, especially Cunningham, I think that they're going to be a little bit of a surprise this year.
You didn't mention Philly's own Jalen Duren, only 19. He's still
Duren, yeah.
raw.
Where's he from?
He's from Roman, and I think so. He played at Roman, and he ended up transferring, but he started his career at Roman.
Are you guys not Tyreek Duren?
I'm positive.
Okay.
Monty Williams should help him though develop. I think.
Yeah, Monty.
Jalen Duren's from Sharon Hill, by the way.
All right. I don't have a lot of other questions about the playing teams, to be honest with you guys. I think we're all kind of in the same boat. Any of you guys have questions to anybody?
I just think we all had Orlando at 9.
I did not. I haven't even mentioned Orlando yet.
Okay, so you're about
Orlando. You probably have the number 1 seed on yours.
So obviously you have them in the playoffs. I think it's just I like them. They're young, and Banchero is a potential all-star, potential even maybe a third-team All-NBA guy this season. I just think
who was that, Al? You said who?
Paulo Banchero. It might be asking a lot. If you look at the standings last season, to get to the 9 spot, it would be a 7-game increase in wins. And they've jumped from 21 to 22 to 34. So it's been a monumental jump just even in the last 2 seasons. I just don't – that might be too much too quick for this team. Adam, you're gonna talk about them being your number 1 seed. So
yeah,
they were really good in that second half of the year last year.
Let's table it till we do our playoff teams, and we can talk a little bit more about them.
I would say two, in that. I would say 2 real quick from my list. I had Toronto at 12 instead of in the play-in area, just because I feel like with a new coach and a lot of moving pieces, they lost Van Vliet and things like that. I'm a little bit nervous for them as far as what that turnaround is going to look like. And a team like Chicago at 9, they obviously could finish higher depending on how their year starts, especially with how we said that the Eastern Conference is so wide open. But I'm thinking that they're not going to do that, and as a result, they're probably going to end up trading some guys, especially maybe the big guys like Levine or DeRozan or some of those pieces, and that would put them down. But not too far out because they're still a decent team, I think.
Chicago and Toronto are the ticking time bombs in this conference, where they're both in the worst position you can be in sports, which is purgatory. They're not bad enough to get a great pick. They're not good enough to do anything. So I'm 100% with you, Chris. And Toronto, they got some free agent stuff coming up. Siakam's going to be a free agent. Trent's going to be a free agent. Yeah. OG has a player option, so are they going to blow that up? It wouldn't surprise me.
That's another reason why I had them at 12. I think that they might ship some of those guys before the deadline comes this year to get
absolutely
picks and stuff like that.
All good points. All good points. All right, let's get into the top 6. Al, why don't you hit us first?
6, I have Miami. 5, I have Philly. 4, I have Cleveland. 3, I have the Knicks. 2, I have the Boston Celtics. And number 1, I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
Quickly do it again because I lost my pen. Miami, Philly.
6-1, Miami, Philly, Cleveland, New York, Boston, Milwaukee.
So you have Philly as a 5?
Guest is beside himself. Yeah, I have Philly as a 5.
Go ahead, guess.
We'll talk about it, but go ahead.
Love to talk about it.
All right, so I'll go Cleveland 6, Knicks 5, Miami 4, Boston 3, Sixers 2, Milwaukee 1. And I'm not saying that because I think the Sixers are going to be great this year. I'm just saying because I think everybody else is going to suck.
Sixers 6, Orlando 5, New York 4, Cleveland 3, Milwaukee 2, Boston 1.
We talked a lot about regression in the last segment. The credibility of the pod is regressing as we speak.
Why is it regressing?
It is regressing as we speak.
First of all,
Because
let me
this is
say
Philly
this.
at 2, and then you have Orlando above Philly.
Jesus.
We're going to talk. We could talk a little Philly now, but we're going to do a full preview next week. So I don't want to dive 15 minutes in this. I wanted to put Philadelphia lower, but I couldn't because of these garbage ass teams. This team has dumpster fire written all over it. I don't know how you can't see it.
At the end of the day, they still have one of the top 5 players in the world, and that's good enough in this conference to finish in the top 5.
If he has any motivation, I don't know if he has any motivation. He still hasn't stepped on the court in the preseason. He's making up excuses already. He had a little. He didn't feel under the weather. He was for the last game. He was cramping the game before that. So now we're gonna have to go through the first 2 months of the season where this guy's not in any shape. We're gonna have to listen to that excuse because he didn't play in the preseason. Now we have a brand new offense where we haven't seen him in game action. Where now it's about motion, not about giving Joel the ball all the time. I saw something the other day that pissed me off more than it should have. But there was an Instagram interview on Phillies or Sixers Media Day when they were asking Joel Embiid all these random questions about like pick your team. It was like what teammate would you want to live with the most? And he was Tyrese Maxey. And there was probably 10 questions. And I'm telling you, on half of them, he said himself. Who's the funniest guy on the team? I am. Who's the smartest guy on the team? I am. Who'd be the best quarterback on the team? I would. Like, dude, just say your teammates for once. Like, stop. It doesn't have to be all about yourself. I'm so out on this fucking dude. I can't be any more out on him. I don't care if he scores 35 this season and does it on efficiency and wins MVP again. I'm done with him. I want him gone. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone by the trade deadline because he demands a trade. This James Harden thing is a giant cloud sitting over this team, and Daryl Morey is sitting in his front office saying everything will be okay. It's not going to be okay. There's no world where it's okay. It's not going to work out. It never does with this team, and this is the year. And God forbid Joel gets hurt. We've had 3 years without a Joel injury. Joel gets hurt, and then what? We're running out Kelly Oubre, Maxey, Harris.
Mobamba.
Come on, man.
I'll make sure you clip this that rant so when the playoffs come, we can run that back.
Well, he hasn't been in the playoffs.
Yeah, I have been in the playoffs.
He hasn't been in the playoffs.
When Joel's averaging 32 and 12 like he always does.
And then in the playoffs, he sucks. So
it's not about the playoffs, it's about the regular season. And you have the Magic above the Sixers.
That's fine.
Stop.
Guess what? The Knicks made a huge jump last year. We all had them out of the playoffs. The Knicks were the 4 seed. It happens all the time in basketball where teams take jumps. I wish I
the Magic though. The Magic's going to propel themselves up over the Sixers.
I love the Magic's forwards. I love them. I think they both can turn into really, really good players. I actually like their backcourt. I like Wendell Carter. You know that you mentioned how many wins last year? 30.
What I say? Hold on.
34, I think it was.
34.
34 wins, and they dug themselves a hole. They were 5-20 because the first month of the year they had 4 guards that were injured, and they had some dude Kevon Harris and Bol Al's boy was playing point guard. They were 5-20. They dug a hole. I think they're an up and coming team. And again, teams make jumps every year. Look at Oklahoma City last year. Again, look at the Knicks. Like it happens in the NBA.
You know what this is? This is when, as a fantasy football player, when you fall in love with a guy and you take him every year a little bit too high, even though he keeps breaking your heart, because you just don't want to miss out on the year when he finally puts it all together. And this is it for Seltzer and the Orlando Magic.
That's a really good comparison, to be honest with you.
Dude, it's exhausting.
Markel got a nice cut. He's looking fresh.
Well,
speaking of cut, listen to this. All right, I'll bet you, if the Sixers finish below the Magic, I will completely shave. I'm going to 1.5 right now. I'll go complete 0 on my hair until the next season. And if they don't, you got to not cut your hair and let your hair grow until the next season. Deal?
The Houston Deer Boys.
Yeah, I'm out on that one.
Why? Put your money where your
I need odds. I need odds on that.
Put your head where your actually you should probably clip that too, Al. Put your head where your mouth is.
Here are the odds. Seltzer Guest will shave his whole body bald.
I can't believe.
But guess here's the thing. I don't want you to shave.
Call yourself.
I don't want you to shave because you need the bear doyle.
Well, the bear doyle does. Yeah, I mean the bear doyle. I do got to get them back. But you call yourself a Sixers fan, and you're going to sit there and say with a straight face that they're not only going to be a 6 seed, but that the Orlando Magic is going to be above them.
I wanted to put them lower.
Oh my God! So why?
Why can't I be a fan?
I'll be honest with you. We're totally different on this. I don't think our roster looks bad on paper anymore. I really don't.
You'll find. We'll talk more. I want to save some of this for next week because we're going to do the full.
Have you seen James Harden, by the way? Anybody seen James?
James didn't show up today for practice.
Yeah.
Two quick questions, and we can wrap this segment. Where are we at on Miami? Is this the year that the bubble finally burst? Can they do it again?
You talk about being over a team. I don't care. I really don't. I don't.
They lose Vincent. They lose Strus. They don't really add anybody. They didn't have any depth last year, and they found a way to get to the finals. I think it's a year that they finally don't have enough. I'm in the 9 seed. Just wanted to kind of pick your guys' brain on what you
I have them in the 4 because of the fact that the conference blows.
It does blow. It's terrible.
So they could easily be just again, guys like Jimmy and Hero and Bam with his defense and everything. Those guys can be good enough. Duncan Robinson.
There it is, our boy. I was waiting for it.
You know what I mean? Those guys are good enough and have played together long enough and have the chemistry to be able to still win games in this conference.
But Cleveland is a 51-win team last year. What makes you think they're going to regress? You have them at 6.
They're 12 years old.
That's what they were 11 last. They were 11 years old last year, and they still won 51 games.
And now
what happened? They got their doors blown off when they got to the playoffs.
But they upgraded the one issue they had. They upgraded.
You know, I'm not big on the Cavs. And Donovan Mitchell, here's another thing. Mitchell's going to be out of there the first thing smoking when he can get to be a free agent again. He's not staying there.
No, I don't think he is either, but he's there now.
And I don't think that again, the conference stinks, so who knows? Maybe they do play higher than where I have them. But this conversation, I can't even. I can't.
I think it's do or die for Cleveland this year because they have Karis LeVert and then they have Mobley, are both going to be free agents after next year. Yeah, and then Spida has he has the player option.
It might be do or die for Seltzer doing NBA segments in this podcast if he sticks with these predictions.
Yes, don't forget Cleveland has the winningest player of the decade in George Niang.
Oh yeah, bang, 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 Niang.
That's true.
What else you got?
I'll put a 20 spot. I'll put another 20 spot on with you that Cleveland finishes above the Sixers.
Yeah, I want to hear it. I'm ready to put real. I'm ready to put real stuff up. I'm ready to put my scalp on the line.
I can grow my hair.
Literally put my scalp.
It's going to look the same. My hair ain't going to do nothing.
Well, I thought you were like me and that you chose to shave it.
Nah, bro, look at this line right here, dude.
Nothing going on there. My fault. I didn't know that. My fault. I thought that was just chosen. I can grow mine back out. I didn't know yours was not able to.
I mean, it would look stupid.
Actually, it'd be even funnier because then you'd have the sides and no top.
That's what I thought, Guess, you were going for. Is you wanted him to have the horseshoe going on.
Yeah, the Krusty the Clown joint.
Yeah. I have a lot more to lose in that bet than you do. Real quick, the last one. Both of you guys have Milwaukee over Boston. Obviously, Chris has Philly up there as well. I have Boston over Milwaukee. I'll just give a quick reason why, and then I'll hear you guys. I was extremely impressed with the Sixers played them in the preseason with Porzingis. And I'm a little, obviously there's a health concern there, but he does everything for them that Al Horford did, but he's just better. And I think that with a lineup of Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, Holiday, and Derek White, I think that's a really, really good 5. And if Porzingis stays healthy, I think that team's going to be nasty.
There were rumblings that they're going to bring Drew off the bench.
No, I think that was just the first preseason game. Last night they played, and Horford was the guy coming off the bench.
Well, I'll say this. I had them lower just because of the fact that I don't like the losses that they had this offseason. I think that they lost toughness. I don't care what Porzingis does in October. I care what he does in March and April and in the playoffs. And for me, he has not shown to this point in his career, and he's not a 2-year veteran at this. I mean, he's not a kid. He's been in the league a while now. He hasn't shown me that I should be able to, or I could trust him. And because of that, I struggle with having them. I think that either he's going to, he also hasn't shown me that he can stay healthy.
And we talked about X factors in segment 1. He is the X factor in this conference to me.
Oh yeah, if he plays like New York Knicks, Porzingis, they're a problem.
Yeah,
but if he plays like Dallas Maverick Porzingis or Wizards Porzingis,
he was good last year for the Wizards.
I said to an extent, yeah, because there was some time where he showed some flashes, but he also didn't have to worry about two other guys that were better than him that were involved. So
and there was no pressure if they won or lost the game.
Correct.
I think Jaylen Brown is a little bit of an X factor too. He just made all that money. Is he really a guy that deserved all that money? Like, is he really going to be a top 10 guy in the league?
I mean, listen, what's going to happen is when these contracts and the media deal goes up, he's going to eventually fall back. The same way Bryce Harper now, he was the highest paid guy in the league, and now he was like 20th or 30th. Jaylen Brown will eventually kind of fade back. Jaylen Brown's really, really good.
He eventually will, and he's really, really good until the playoffs roll around. Yeah. I mean, you ask a Boston fan what they think about Jaylen Brown, they're going to not have good things to say.
And it's not even the playoffs, though. It's not the play. It's like the conference finals or the finals, like when the best of the best get exposed. And he does. He gets exposed in those series. Yeah. But let's not act like he doesn't bust the Sixers' ass in the second round.
So this could just be me being the huge – I'm a big Dame fan. He might be my favorite player in the league, and he has been for a long time. And I think the mission is clear. Milwaukee, win another ring. And that mission becomes even easier when they're the 1 or 2 seed. That's why I think Milwaukee is just going to romp this conference for 82 games. And I think they're going to win upwards of 60 games, 60 plus.
And I was going to say, I agree with, I mean, Dame's probably my second favorite player behind your Seltzer's favorite player. But I think that Dame's gotten flack from some people for being like, I don't know if he can make anybody better because Portland hasn't really gotten that much, which I think is a blown out of proportion argument, first of all. A lot of different reasons. But even still, he doesn't have to in Milwaukee.
Right.
He doesn't have to do that. He can be himself. And we've seen him in the playoffs himself, and he's not shied away from that moment. He's been great. So,
and he can be a little bit of a defensive liability in Milwaukee when you have a Giannis and you have a Brook Lopez out there with him. People are forgetting just how electric Dame Lillard is, and he's gonna make people remember this season.
Well, we'll see him right off the bat opening night.
Yeah, that's an L01.
Did you guys do best bets over unders? I forgot to remind you.
I did.
Yeah.
But go ahead. You guys go first.
I'll make this quick. My first one is I have the Knicks in third in the conference, so I had to take their over 45.5. If I look at the Knicks record last year, it was 47-35, and they were in the 5 hole. So if I have them in the 3, the Sixers were third last year with 54 wins. So it's math.
And that's another. We didn't even get a chance to have that conversation. The Knicks at that high, but I have Detroit over 27.5 wins. Like I said, I think that Detroit can actually be a surprise this year in a positive light for them. I like their young roster. So 27.5, I think, is cake for them to get over on.
All right. I have the under 37.5 for Chicago. I'm over this team. I've never seen a team that continues to run it back with the same quote unquote big 3 after they continually lose over and over again. Chris, you mentioned earlier, I think this could be a seller where they move Levine or DeRozan if the time is right. And again, they're all a year older as well. I don't see any young pieces that excite me on this team. You know, Kobe White has run his course. Patrick Williams has kind of run its course. I have them 13th in the conference. I see them closer to 30 wins.
Seltzer, I think the Bulls are a team that's like when you're at the gym or something or at the basketball court and you're playing full court 5-on-5 pickup, and there's a team that like they don't win games, but nobody leaves, and so they always have to stay with the same 5 dudes, even though you don't really want to play with all those 5 guys, but you already were all in the same team, and that's just kind of how it has to stick because no one's leaving. That's kind of how I look at the Bulls right now. Like they run back, like you said, the same guys, same roster, probably the same ending. They'll probably have rumors about trading DeRozan and Levine the whole year to the deadline, and probably won't do either one. It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, to be like, I don't know how, as a Chicago Bulls fan, you could possibly be excited about having that team.
Yeah.
Like what's there to be excited about? It's the same roster over and over again.
How old is DeRozan now?
He's got to be 35.
They keep talking about him like he can go somewhere still and be this and that. I'm like, how? He's like, I feel like he's old.
I mean, definitely peaked 2 years
34.
ago.
He's 34.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got a nice little bag. He could be actually, I thought he would be a good piece for the Sixers last year, as they needed kind of another scorer.
Yeah, he's a nice player, but I mean, like as far as making him a number 2 on your team, like they have right now, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But let's wrap up the segment here. Obviously, I did want to mention one thing, Chris. I'm going to try and post on Twitter a theme where I'm going to do a NBA player prop of the night. The goal is to do it every night. Realistically, it'll probably be closer to 4 games a night, and we're working on getting a sponsor for that segment as well. So stay tuned for that. I will have one for opening night next Tuesday. So if you are a gambler and you like to play player props, you want some action, follow me, and we're going to try and do our best to make some money. But let's jump into segment 3.
So, a reminder, we were killing it last year.
We were on the Sixers only props. We were
hell
hot.
of a run.
Yeah, I'm a better basketball gambler than a football gambler. I will tell you that. We're going to talk a little Phillies all-time playoff teams in segment 3. Before we do, I want to talk about Righteous Felon. We've been talking about this jerky for weeks. You can use the promo code OCSN for 15% off your jerky orders, and every order over $50 gets free shipping. Guys, it's time we put our money where our mouth is. I got some right here.
Hey,
I brought the bag.
What flavor?
This is the Victorious B.I.G. that Al talks so much about. And that's because it is time to get back on the win column in the drafts, and I'm going to do so tonight. So, again, this is the best jerky I've had. OCSN is the code, 15% off, orders over $50. Go get yourself a bag. I put an order in, got my 15% off. I'm going to eat it while we draft here tonight, boys.
That's great audio for the podcast. Let me tell you how much the listeners are going to love this.
What is that? The Charlie Brown phone people?
Well, while Seltzer chomps away,
It's got a little kick. It's got a kick, Al.
I'll go. Well, I hope you have some water with you. You're gonna
drank my whole bottle already.
Let me explain to the listeners here how segment 3 is going to go. So we decided that with the Phillies playoff run, this is now in our lifetimes the third real run that we've seen, if you count 93. So we thought it would be a good idea to draft an all-time Phillies playoff roster. So let me be clear. We are only able to draft players that played in the playoffs with the Phillies, and we're trying to put a roster together that would be built for the playoffs. It's going to be an 11-round draft, if I did the math correctly. We're going to be each drafting 2 starters, only 1 reliever, and then each position, catcher, first, second, third, short, left, center, right. No designated hitter, since it obviously did not exist in the NL prior to a few years ago. So that's what we're going to be doing. Adam did the order prior to the draft, and it's going to go myself, then Adam, and then Chris. And if you're watching the audio, which would probably be best for something like this, you're going to be able to see the draft take place in real time as I update the big draft board.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, guys, are you ready? So, guess, are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So as I went through and I put together my cheat sheet today, I looked at all the different players, all the great names that came up, and there's a guy that I think stood out the most to me that has to be the number 1 pick, because even though he had some poor playoff years, he put it all together in the year that mattered most, which is when they won their ring in 1980. He is the best third baseman of all time, and it is Michael Jack Schmidt. I'm taking with my 1-1 pick as my third baseman.
Disastrous pick.
No way, because the third baseman after him are crap compared to him.
Yeah, I was going to say that's actually where I would have went too if I was
to take him because of that fact.
What do you mean it's a disastrous pick? He's a top 20 player of all time.
There's a clear 1-1, and he's a first rounder, but he's not 1-1 to me. So
Adam loves
it ain't that clear. Wait a minute. It ain't that clear because 2 of the 3 of us would have picked Schmidt.
Guys, live in the moment. We have the man on our team right now. He is a guy who steps to the plate in the big moments and comes through in every single one of them. He's going to lead us to the World Series today. So Al has it. Johan Rojas. 1-2. That's the pick.
I was so confused.
It's obvious. Listen, I understand position scarcity, but I'm taking Bryce Harper. No. I want him in right field.
I don't know about that. Can we do? I guess we can.
I was debating on first base or right field also.
Wait a minute though. Did he play enough right field games to be eligible in the playoff?
He's a right fielder.
But what position has he played?
He didn't play outfield at all last year. DH'd.
Yeah, so I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
Oh, I hate this. I got him at first base.
Well, I mean, there's a clear first base. I mean,
first base is stacked.
Well, yeah, we'll keep the spoilers for that one.
All right.
Bryce, every time he steps up to the plate, he hits a home run. Every time.
I'm just laughing at you sitting there eating the jerky, talking about, Schmidt's a terrible pick.
The worst of times to eat it.
First of all, Schmidt's got a ring. Harper does not have a ring yet. That's disrespectful.
How many playoffs did Schmidt play in?
He played in 2 World Series.
Guess what? Talk to me in 2 weeks.
Wait a minute. What did you just say? He did how many what?
I said Bryce only played in 1 playoff for us. Talk to me in 2 weeks. He'll have a ring.
Schmidt's played in 6.
I was going to say Schmidt's been in several playoff series. For
I know. When Bryce plays 6 years in the playoffs, he'll have 3 rings.
Schmidt's numbers in 1980 when he won World Series MVP, he batted .381, had a 1.176 OPS. That's it.
Cool. Bryce Harper hit a home run last year, bottom of the 8th, 2 outs in the NLCS to send us to the World Series, and has hit 5 other gargantuan home runs to do so.
No one's saying that Harper's not great, but like over Schmidt.
Yeah,
I'm not saying as an overall player, Schmidt's maybe the best third baseman of all time. But when you add in clutch factor and big games and being a leader of a team, granted we didn't see Schmidt, but I'm giving Bryce all day. Like we're underrating him because we're overvaluing.
You're underrating Mike Schmidt.
Yeah,
all right, Mike Schmidt's probably the best third baseman in baseball.
We'll let the people talk. We'll let the people vote.
All right, guess who do you got?
All right, so I'm going to go to the other position that's probably a little bit barren, compared to the other ones. I'm going to go with the second baseman, Chase Utley.
Yep.
I would have had him. If Al took Harper, I was taking Utley for that reason.
Yep. No, I got no rebuttal there. I considered him at 1. Again, because of the drop off, this is like a kind of thing where you're looking at Travis Kelce or everyone else. Now I know obviously the season played out differently.
Well, guess what? I'll go one further, Al. I wouldn't have argued that as much as Harper, because at least Utley's got a ring, played in 2 World Series, and also was equally hot as Harper was during 2009 when he went against the Yankees that year.
Guess it sounds like Seltzer's eating an apple. It sounds like he's biting into a Granny Smith.
On the bag. Bag's empty. I ate the whole bag and
you went ham on that bag.
You want to talk about a sponsorship, man?
I was going to say
they got their money's worth.
Oh
my god! All right, guess you got the first pick of the second round.
Oh, all right. So then I'm also going to follow up, and let's see where we want to go here with this one. I'm going to take. I'm going to take the greatest hitter in the history of baseball at first base. I'm going to take Pete Rose.
All right. Pete Rose off
Charlie Hustle.
No issues with that.
You got 2 gritty ass dudes, man.
That's what I'm about.
Grit and
Dude,
That's
grind.
really toughness.
A lot of grind. All right, back to me. Where it gets a little tough here, huh? I'm going to. It's a little bit of a homer pick because this guy was my boy.
Well, they're all homer picks. What do you mean?
Yeah, but this guy was.
We're
this guy
literally
was,
picking our home team.
this guy was probably my favorite player. I'm gonna go Jimmy Rollins at shortstop.
Ooh, reach.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But listen, J-Roll came up with many clutch hits, including the walk-off against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And he has one other competitor at shortstop, I would say. At the end of the day, give me the defense. Give me the defense and the offense over just the offense.
No, I don't have a problem with that pick at all, actually. I think that was a good pick.
And he's a leader. I got such good leadership on my squad.
Yeah. The leadership teacher. I really like your team.
Thank you, Chris.
You guys let someone fall into my lap here. You guys let me get the only player with a postseason no-hitter under his belt. You guys just let me take Doc? Give me
But
Roy
your
Halladay.
argument was how many rings did Bryce have? That was your argument, and you're taking Doc. How many Doc got?
That's why that's
we're
our
around
argument
like
versus what Schmidt.
it is the 6th pick.
Yeah. Give me Doc all day, dude, with this
Team's
pick.
going to crash and burn, no pun intended.
You kidding me?
You know what, dude? You're wrong for that. You're really wrong for that. I apologize, fans.
It's the felon's getting to me.
Yeah, feel a little spicy over
Yeah,
there.
a little kick.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I have to make sure that I get this guy now because if Seltzer takes him, I'm doomed at first base. So I'm going to go ahead and take Ryan Howard with my first pick of the 3rd round because I thought we had three stud first basemen. I considered Harper a first baseman, but now Seltzer's going to end up with John Kruk.
Yeah,
So I
I
got
don't
to
pick one for a while.
No, there's another one he could pick.
I don't know who it is.
There's another one he could pick.
It'll surprise me if he takes someone other than Kruk, the Krucker.
Good old Kruk. Who's up?
Yeah, you talking about
Tell
Reese
me what.
Lightning? I could go Reese Lightning on you.
No, I wasn't thinking him, but
I could go that route.
Seltzer wants him to pinch hit in this series.
So wait, just for facts, are we building a team? Like, do I have to worry about how many left-handed hitters I have?
no, who cares?
You're
Okay.
building a team that's going to win in the postseason. So if that's something you want to consider, go ahead and consider it.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. I would just
Okay.
pick.
I've already won this thing. Don't hurt your brain too much here thinking.
Let me go.
Wait a minute. You got a guy.
Let me
You
go.
got a
I'm
guy that's not even a Hall of Famer yet. I got 2 bona fide Hall of Famers.
Listen, I'm going to get a guy here that I don't agree with a lot of the things that he says, but when I need a big game pitcher, that's my guy. See the 2-0 shutout game 6 against the Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series, 150 pitches, I think. Bloody sock. Give me Kurt Schilling as my ace.
As far as I'm concerned, the starting pitchers in this are like quarterbacks in a real fantasy football draft.
There's a
You can
ton
get a
of
good one.
Wait, what are you saying? You're saying that you got to get a good one or that there's
No, I'm saying you can get a good one later.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I wanted the ace. You got to have the ace.
I think there was 2 guys though that were head and shoulders above the next tier.
Possibly. I'm gonna go. Whew. You know what? I'm gonna stick with this. I probably could. Actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go with.
Guess
You talk about leaders. I'm gonna
Oh,
go with.
That's what I was
I'm
going to pick.
I'm gonna go with the leader, my guy. Rest in peace to Dutch.
Yep.
Darren Dutch Dalton.
I was going to take him there. I didn't think you were going to grab him.
All right. Dalton's off the board.
And then I'm gonna follow up. Let's see. Do I want to get my pitcher in the John, or do I want to get an outfielder? I can get that outfielder later on. I'm gonna go with the 2008 World Series MVP as my starting pitcher. I'm gonna go with Cole Hamels.
Cole Hamels. Hollywood Hamels is off the board. I don't know about that.
Good pick with Dutch, though. I was going to take
Dutch
him.
is a solid pick. Dutch was my man. He was my favorite Philly for a long time.
Yeah, he was the dude.
All right. Listen, I got a little bit of a grimy outfielder in Bryce Harper, and I'm going to add to that. Give me nails. Give me the dude, Lenny Dykstra in center field. Another clutch player all time. I want roided up Lenny though. I want non-roided Lenny. I got the 93 version of Lenny Dykstra.
You want the Dykstra that's got a mouthful of chew.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And that
Now
outfield
ear
with
and nose full of chew.
Bryce and dude out there, that's a squad.
That's the only Lenny that exists. I don't have any other Lenny in my head when I think.
Yeah, but then you also see you're showing your character here by having guys like Schilling and Dykstra on your team.
True. There's gonna be a locker room, a lot of turmoil.
I got Bryce and J-Roll to calm that all down. That's why I drifted to leadership first. So we can corral
you better have a
those
good leader
guys.
for that locker room.
So we can corral those guys.
Well, as man, I feel like I can put it away here with a couple of picks that are left on the board. Given that I have two though back to back, I really wanted Dutch. That's kind of throwing me off. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? Let me shore up my pitching and let me appeal here to the old school crowd. And I'm going to round out my righty with my lefty, and I'm going to take Steve Carlton.
I keep guessing what you guys are going to take and what's going to come back to me, and I keep getting it wrong. Steve
Carlton. Look, Zach Wheeler is right there, and obviously what he's doing in the playoffs has never been done before with the lowest whip of any pitcher in the postseason. But you're telling me you want to go up against a team that's going to throw Doc and then lefty out there back to back? Come on.
Yeah, you got no offense. You got a lot of K's in that lineup.
Oh, you just no. Wait a minute. I got something cooking right here. How about I take? Yeah, listen. We're slim pickings already on the offensive side. On the offensive side here, my eyes are scanning up and down my cheat sheet, and I don't see much. All right, listen. I'll be a little bit of a prisoner in the moment with this pick, and I'll take Trey Turner. I'll take the shoddy glove for the fact that he's a guy that probably is going to be able to lead off for me, if not be in the 2-hole. And he's going to be able to hit bombs, hit doubles, hit singles, and steal bases. So I'll take Trey as my shortstop. This is the fifth.
With guys like Halladay and Carlton, your pitchers, hopefully they won't even be hitting balls to Trey.
Exactly right. Thank you, Chris, for making. You know what? You made a good pick better for me there. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought about Trey coming up.
And well, it's another pick where what's left now. It's the dredges.
We don't have a lot of playoff teams in our history, folks.
All right, so I'm going to need a corner outfielder ruling here. I got a guy who played both sides, but primarily played right for the Phillies, but has played left before. Does that?
No, you're not taking because you already got Bryson Wright. I was not on board with Bryson Wright.
I'm going to leave it to Chris. Chris, what do you think?
The guy played what was it?
He played right for the Phillies, but he played left plenty in his career.
No, he's got to be for the Phillies. We're doing a Phillies playoff draft. You have to get what do you play for the Phillies then?
It seems like you guys are trying to.
No, I mean it's fair. If this is what you want to do with the Phillies draft,
I'm checking how much he played in that.
If we didn't let you have Bryce Harper and Wright, I would have been okay with this. To me, Bryce Harper and Wright is egregious.
Yeah, you're skewing these rules.
How many games did right field in the playoffs?
I got a guy. The guy played 88 games in right field, and he played 30 games in left field. I feel like 30 games is enough in left field.
No, that's less than 30%. No. That's not
even 30%.
This is disgusting.
This is where we need diversity.
Who are you picking? West Chamberlain?
All right, listen. If at the end of the game we all sweat through all these playoff games, we know what it's like in the ninth inning when things get a little tight. There's one guy who was perfect for the entire season. I'm taking Brad Lidge to lock it down. Lights out, boys.
Mm-hmm. Seltzer shifts from his Bake McBride pick to Brad.
Yeah, you guys ruined this crap.
Go ahead, guest. Last pick of the fifth.
So I'm gonna pick my dude here. Very, very underrated Philadelphia Philly. One of my favorite nicknames / lines to describe a player where the earth is 70% water. Is covered by 70% water, and the other 30% is covered by Gary Maddox and my center fielder.
Got it.
Couldn't hit a lick.
He batted 330 in 76 when they went to the playoffs.
Yeah,
146 games. What are you talking about?
I taught his grandson in 6th grade.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, he's supposed to be I heard he's a really nice guy too.
I didn't have the pleasure of meeting Gary, but I've heard good stories.
Yeah.
All right, you got another one here.
He's a 285 career hitter, Seltzer. I don't know what you're talking about. Also, I'm gonna go.
Now he could have been a guy that Guest put in left. I would have been okay with Gary in left.
he played center.
He was a center fielder. Yeah, he was center fielder.
This is rigged.
Oh, wait, no, my bad, guys. I confused him with Gary Matthews for a second.
No, Matthew. No, yeah, no.
Yeah, sorry.
We don't all look alike, Al. But
It's the same friggin' name. It's
Don't
like it's
pork-
Gary Maddox and Pork Chop Cash.
you can put pork chop on any list. Any of these lists, pork chop belongs on it. I'm gonna take. You know what? Oh, this is getting tough, man. This is tougher than I thought it was gonna be.
This is the start of the 6th round.
So, oh man. You know what? I'm gonna take at my shortstop. I'm gonna take Bo. I'm gonna take Larry Boa.
You got Gary and Larry.
Gary and Larry. I got a tough squad of dogs.
It's wild that you took Boa now when me and Al already had shortstops.
Yeah, dude, there was no reason to take him. He would have made it to the last round.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of
No strategy.
Star fans. But you know, I like Bo. Bo had a good career. Bo was a good dude.
All right, this
Yeah, I
is going
could've
to be more of a save myself pick here. Actually, I'm not going to go there.
A lot of guys you could pick from here.
Yeah, you know what?
Or is it?
It's really tough, honestly.
This is hard. This is fun.
It's really, really tough. You know what? I got a lot of. You know what? I need a guy who's going to be able to handle my rotation, and I'm not loving the options behind what's left. So I'm going to go with my man Chooch behind the dish.
All right,
Again, I don't need his offense with this team I have. I need his defense and Mr. Clutch. Always came up with a big hit. Chooch.
Okay.
And the people love Chooch.
Yeah, you love the 08 team.
I got
I mean, they were champions, but I mean, like, you know, spread around.
You love the 1980 team. You didn't even see them.
Spread around a little bit. I do love the 1980 team.
All right. Well, Chris, I'm about to boost that 08 love a little bit more here. I need as much as I like Trey Turner potentially leading off, I like another guy even better. And that's the flying Hawaiian. I like Shane Victorino on my team. I have no outfielders. I got to take one.
Yeah, well, Al, you did the same thing I did with
Yeah,
Bo.
the same thing.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Hey, you like who you like. What are you going to do?
What a bust.
Yeah, dude, that was so bad.
OH bust.
Oh, damn it. Not paying attention here, boys.
I wish we had a soundboard so bad, man. We might do invest in that somehow. There's got to be an app where we can make an app where we can get a soundboard or something from it.
I got two pitchers left on my board, and they're both really, really good. But I'm going to go Zach Wheeler.
Seltzer, did I go Minnesota Vikings? Did I go past the clock? I didn't get my pick.
My bad. Good thing you can't take another starter.
What's going on here, guys? What are we?
Ever since you said it was fun and we went by the wayside.
What are we doing? All right, I'm taking my I don't know if because now I'm looking at the different positions. I got to probably take.
Who you can't take is a catcher or a right fielder yet.
Right. What I might
have
you
can take a right fielder. You can take a right fielder.
You know what? I got a guy that he's gonna slip. So I'm gonna take my right fielder. And I'm going to take Jason Worth.
That's why I wanted in left.
I know it is. I know it is.
You were licking your chops to get your hands on that guy.
Licking chops, licking crops, licking pops. Go ahead, Seltzer. Zach
Right.
Wheeler.
I'm taking Wheeler. The other guy, I'm allowed to say his name because there's one guy left if Chris wants him out, was Cliff Lee for me. And I still have the thoughts of Cliff Lee blowing that Cardinals 4-0 lead in the back of my head. That's what drives the difference between those two to me.
I think about that game 1 in Yankee Stadium, and then I think about the Cardinals game, and I can't. It's tough.
I think it's undeniable to take Zach Wheeler over Cliff Lee as a postseason pitcher. I don't think there's any argument.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right, let's see. So we need a bullpen dude. I thought we were taking 3 starters, by the way. Did we change that?
No, we took away a bullpen guy.
Yeah, we were going to do 2 bullpen. I wanted to throw manager in the mix. It would have been like a kicker just to see who would have drafted the manager before the last round.
I would have definitely taken Fergusi.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this might be a little bit of a controversial pick here. But I appreciate the player, and I liked his defense, and he did have a nice bat, but he's forgotten in this city. People forget that Placido Polanco was on that roster in 2011.
Oh, he sucked.
You were a big Polanco guy.
And I'm going to put him on my third baseman.
Do you know, my dad said about Placido Polanco in that series, he said it looks like he's trying to hit a hard ball with a wiffle ball bat. That's the way he played in that series.
Well, he was towards the tail end at that point too. But his better years were like 05, 06, and all that. But
yeah, nice little player.
Yeah.
Nice player.
And then I just X off by accident. And then my other guy is going to be. All right, so I need to get us.
You get a reliever,
guy or the left fielder.
Yeah, left field, right field, left field or reliever.
Yeah. So what do I want to do? Left field, I got an idea. Reliever, I got an idea. I'm going to go with Ryan Madsen.
Oh, I didn't even have him on my list.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ryan Madsen on my reliever list.
I don't hate that. I looked at his stats. He was lights out.
Great numbers.
Yeah, he was good in 08.
I didn't even look him up.
He was good for a few years.
And he was a closer in 11, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was good for a few years.
Yeah.
And then he was decent with the Nationals.
I gotta look this up. I gotta look him up. Go ahead, Seltzer.
All right, so I'm going to go with a guy I don't think any of you particularly want for some reason, but I'm going with leadership on my team. Give me Schwarbs in left field, man.
Yeah, that's
I'm not going to hit him in the leadoff spot. Like, give me the power, dude. The guy's hit plenty of big-time homers. Just don't let him get hot.
The only reason why I'm not on him is because I already have Howard. I would have 2 of the same guy.
No.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a little lefty heavy in my outfield, but those boys are going to mash.
All right. I got to go second or left. Second and left, right? That's what's left. All right. So second base, we're between 3 guys. I guess just because I got a crush on him, I'm going to take Stott.
Yeah. Second base, that's why Chris's Utley pick was great. The second base after that is trash.
Yep. Well, that's why my Mike Schmidt pick was great because look, Guest ended up with Placido Polanco, and you're going to end up with Pedro Feliz or Dave Hollins.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen.
You could put Bowman there.
You could put Bowman there. That's fine. But think about Mike Schmidt and Alec Boehm.
Bryce was just the pick. He was the guy.
So in left, I can take a guy that was better than this guy, but there's just no way I can't have this guy on my roster. He's going to be hitting 9th probably for me.
Oh, no.
And it's Pat the Bat.
Okay.
I'm taking Pat Burrell. I need the party guy. He's my party guy.
Guest, all I ask in this draft is don't fuck up right field. It's sitting right there for you.
He might be Mr. Irrelevant.
We'll wait for it to be revealed, fans.
All right, so you're done, right, Al?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done my 2 picks.
I'm locked in here, so none of these picks are going to really matter in what order I take them in. God, I'm so lefty heavy. Give me the Crocker.
Another lefty.
I have dude. I'm just gonna be lefty head, but all these guys can hit, so I'm not that worried about it. Kruk's a 300 hitter. You know the story about when he retired?
Yeah.
Al, you know that story?
Walked off when.
No. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, then we won't tell the fans.
I guess we'll have to look it up.
We're not recording the show.
What the heck?
Yeah. So John Kruk's playing for the Chicago White Sox at this point in time. At lifetime average in or around 300, fluctuating. Gets a base hit, turns to the first base coach, asks him what his career average is. He said, "You're now at 300." He said, "I'm done." Walked off the field, retired as a 300 career lifetime hitter. John Kruk.
Yeah, 300 on the dot.
And listen, I think he's kind of senile now, to be honest with you.
No.
Listen, he's in the booth. He's a little whacked.
No, he's just a goofy dude. He's not. He had a gallbladder issue, but he's not senile.
You defend him because you love wrestling as much as he does.
Well, he does. No, he loves it more than I do.
He's always talking about Raw.
Yeah, he loves wrestling.
Yeah,
wrestling.
All right, Chris.
All right, so Al, you missed a left fielder you could have put in over Pat the Bat. If you don't want a bat, you could put another B in there. The bull. The bull. So I'm gonna go Greg Luzinski.
Man, you got an old ass team, dude.
Yeah, well, we're not playing right now.
And I would have gone. You gotta go Inky, dude.
What over Luzinski?
I'm just kidding.
No, I was gonna say.
I just wanted to shout out Inky.
The Bull only hit 244 in the postseason. He had 25 strikeouts and 82 at bats.
Yeah, well, Schwarber hits 128 and he has 29 home runs in 28 games.
Yes, Pat the Bat had a 186 batting average with 38 strikeouts.
Yeah, he only had. Remember in the 08 World Series, he only had the one hit, which was
he had a double
off the wall. It should have been an inside the park homer. Then nobody went to pick that ball up.
Well, he had the size of grapefruits he was carrying around.
Yeah.
In the World Series, he hit 071, but he has 2 rings.
Yeah,
2 rings and a lot of marks on his back.
You gonna put Luzinski in this sheet or what?
No, sheet's gone.
Yeah, am I? And then my right fielder, I'm not sure who you're talking about, Seltzer, but I'm gonna put my favorite player on this team that I've loved since day one, and that's Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, you had to take Casty.
There it is.
He was a must-have on your roster.
Believed in him from day one.
Yep. All right. What do you got, Adam?
I'm going to go with a guy. So this was another story that was written in 93. So in game 6 of the NLCS, Dave Hollins hit a huge 2-run homer off Greg Maddux. But the story goes that Maddux had hit Dave Hollins at least twice earlier in that season, or maybe the year before that. And they saw him at the All-Star game, and Kruk was standing next to him. And Kruk's the one telling the story. Dave Hollins goes up to Greg Maddux and says, "If you ever hit me with a pitch again, I will fucking kill you." And Maddux turned to Kruk. It was like, he's kidding, right? And Kruk goes, "No." And from that point on, Hollins hit like 380 against Maddux because he just got meatballs down the middle of the plate, including that homer in game 6. Give me Hollins.
That team was so major league.
Dude, they were the best. And now I got Hollins, Kruk, and Schill. Whew.
Yeah, dude, this is a hell of a locker room you got going for.
Yeah, dude, I got a lot of beer drinking going on in my locker room.
Nuts.
Just dudes being bros everywhere.
And Chooch is running amok.
2 picks left. And I obviously have to take. Well, I don't know here. I mean, I'm not familiar with Bob Boone, but when I look at his numbers,
no, he was a big deal when he played.
Yeah, 311 in the postseason. Absolutely no power whatsoever.
Not a power position for a lot of guys back then, though.
I don't know enough about Bob Boone and his career to take him here. I think I just have to go with JT because sometimes the devil right?
We know him all right.
I know what I'm getting defensively out of him. I'm getting one of the 3 best walk-up musics on the team.
I'm so tired of hearing that stupid walk-up song he's got. Just for him to ground out or strike out. But it's hard. That's a tough take now after he's had a good couple last few games.
He has had a good couple last night. He's and I can't take Chris Coast.
No, I can't do that.
I got it. I'll take JT.
As I'm watching the game here, can I ask you guys honestly?
You go Todd Pratt.
Stubbs, you want some chemistry?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
The pick is in, fans. The pick is in.
Yeah. Is
You want
Alvarez,
Stubbs over Real Muto?
without being homers, is Alvarez on the same level as Harper? Like the dude just hits bombs at all times. You were not Alvarez?
Oh yeah, he's like he's like David Ortiz now.
Yeah,
I would say more. He's not the polished player that Bryce is.
I'm just talking about pure hitter.
Yeah.
And
Pure masher.
Yeah, he should hit a homer tonight. Dude jumped over the fence and caught and robbed him. It was sick. All right, he's at the plate. That's what brought that up. But go ahead, Al. You got to finish it off with a closer.
Yeah, so I really honestly want to take a certain lefty here by the name of JC Romero, but I will take Tug. I'll give him his due. I'll take Tug McGraw.
Damn, I thought you were nobody thought about Jose. They didn't want to put Alvarado in there.
I did, but
he's on my list, but I had to go. I matched and I did.
Yeah, Tug McGraw's stats were actually kind of sick.
Yeah, I'll take Tugger here. I think after some of the things we saw from Alvarado in the last postseason, I feel more comfortable with Tug.
Well, I feel like Tug might have been also like one of the first premier closers since they made the position like a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it.
I'm not sure. He had 10 strikeouts in the World Series in 1980. He had a 1.17 ERA.
All right, I'm gonna close it out. I gotta throw back to I gotta shout out Mickey Morandini. I'm gonna pass on him. At this point in time, I'm gonna go back. I gotta put an older guy on my team. Give me that Manny Trio, 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover. I like a little defense. That middle infield of Trio and Rollins making the turn. I'm gonna double up a lot of guys with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, you passed up on. You could have won Joe Morgan there.
Yeah, I thought Joe Morgan would be the pick.
Never heard of him.
Joe Morgan?
I'm just kidding. What years was Morgan on the Phillies?
83.
80. Yeah.
He was on the Wheeze kids.
That's an error on my behalf.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'll take.
He was 39 years old at the time. Am I getting that guy or am I getting MVP?
We're playing the game where in the perfect world everybody's in their primes.
Oh fuck! Well, then Joe Morgan should have been going way earlier. Al took Bryson Stott.
And I don't even think you spelled my man's. Is that an O or an A at the end of that?
Where?
No, that's right. Trio.
Yeah,
Trio?
it's an O.
Oh, okay, I can't see that. I got my font down lower. All right, I'm gonna go to finish this off. I guess I'll take. Give me. You know what? I'm gonna take another guy that I've been high on from day one that I haven't ridiculed at all. I'm gonna take Aaron Nola here.
Ooh.
We got to check the tape. Guess never talk trash on Nola?
No, of course I have. I'm just busting balls.
Say, all right.
Yeah. You Castellanos. I've been talking.
Yeah, look at you face turn. You got Nola and Casty on the team.
Yeah.
Total face turn. Baby face turn.
I
got a lot. There's some. You got a little bit of a pretty boy squad.
I do. I didn't notice that. I was just looking it over right now, and I really do.
You got baby face squad. Speaking of baby faces, you got a baby face squad.
So let's name them right for the audio listeners here. So my two starters are Doc and Lefty. My reliever, my closer is Tugger, and then catcher JT. First base Ryan Howard. Second base Bryson Stott. Shortstop Trey Turner. Third base Michael Schmidt. Left field, Pat Burrell. Center field, Shane Victorino. And right field, Jason Worth.
All right. I've got my starters are Kurt Schilling and Zach Wheeler. I got Brad Lidge closing it out. I've got Chooch behind the plate. John Kruk at first. Manny Trio at second. Jimmy Rollins at short. Dave Hollins at third. And then I got a masher of lefties in the outfield with Kyle Schwarber, Lenny Dykstra, and Bryce Harper from left to right.
Your defense is questionable in the outfield. Questionable at best.
Disagree. The dude could go get it. Bryce is above average. I just have Schwarber, who's not a great outfielder. But you have Burrell, who Schwarber's bad.
Literally
Burrow's
couldn't
not
move.
much better.
Yeah, no.
Well,
Bro,
we each have one with because guest has Casty.
So I went. I went one of the only ones in this dredge. I went to all 21st century for my pitchers: Cole Hamels, Nola, Ryan Madsen, Dutch Dalton, Pete Rose, Chase Utley, Larry Boa, Placido Polanco. Then my outfield looks like Greg the Bull Luzinski, Gary Maddox, Secretary of Defense, and Nicholas Nick Castellanos.
Yes, I would have lost money. I thought you were definitely going to take Grover Cleveland Alexander as one of your pitchers.
Well, I thought about taking like Jim Bunning as a starting pitcher, but or Chris Short.
Yes, I think your team is missing a little bit of power. You're hurting in the power.
I agree. I think
a
the
little
power. I think the Bull would have to carry the power spot.
bit. And Nicky Bats had to be hot. He would have to be hot.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just have a
Dutch had like 90s. He had like 90s power, but he doesn't have like current day power.
you just have a bunch of hitmen. I mean, they're just
Yeah,
they're
I
just-
got I got guys that they ain't taking crap.
yeah.
Yeah. But let us know what you think about these picks. You know, I think this was a really, really fun exercise. Maybe we can do Sixers postseason if they ever get there again. But
So
we should have a World Series preview next week. I just checked it out. Looks like the first game scheduled for the 27th. So
That's
we
not
have
too
plenty
bad.
of
That's
time
not too
to
bad.
put that together. We also have a Sixers season preview next week. So we got a lot to take care of. Anything else before we close?
Don't jinx it.
no, no such thing, dude.
There's a no jinx with this team. This team is too good.
I know. I'm
We're
just
not
busting.
winning
I'm not a
4 or
big.
5.
I don't believe in jinxes anymore anyway. But I just
Yeah. Go Phils, go Birds, but go Phils.
And let's drop that beat.